Hello and welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Criterion. The 25-year-old Marco Bellochio certainly didn't pull any punches with his stylish, subversive debut feature. Following a young man, Lou Castel, in the provinces who sets out to do away with his own dysfunctional family, the film Fists in the Pocket from 1965 mercilessly mocks bourgeois values and Catholic hypocrisy, and it gives a jolt of savage social criticism to an Italian cinema that was then still in the shadow of humanistic neorealism. Fists in the Pocket emerged during a time of great change in Italy, not long after the Socialist Party entered the coalition government and the Second Vatican Council brought reform to the Catholic Church. This in particular expressed the sense of alienation which was felt at the time by the generation that would go on to make its voice heard in the protests of 1968. Made in 1965 and still considered to be by many Marco Belloccio's masterpiece, Fists in the Pocket foreshadows the years of student protest in a family tragedy bordering indeed on horror. This seminal first feature catapulted the 26-year-old Bellochio to fame and introduced a controversial director who, along with Bernardo Bertolucci and Pier Paolo Pasolini, would become a leading cultural figure for generations of Italians. Fists in the Pocket is one of the reasons people still remember Italian cinema as a great and powerful force. 4 siblings, a sister and 3 brothers, live with their blind mother in a provincial villa. 3 of the siblings suffer from epilepsy. The eldest son, Augusto, does not. Augusto is not only the provider for the family, of course. One of the brothers, Alessandro, decides that Augusto would be free to live his life as he pleases if the mother and other siblings were gotten rid of. Now, the role of Alessandro was originally intended for pop star of the time, Gianni Morandi, but the singer turned it down at the advice of his label RCA Records, who claimed it would hurt his musical career. Colombian-born Lou Castel, who took the part instead, was not a professional actor at the time, but he was an acquaintance whom Bellochio met through his activities with the Italian Communist Party. At the time, Castel's only acting experience had indeed been as an extra in Luchino Visconti's The Leopard from 1963, and he didn't speak Italian very fluently. Now, Castel improvised many of the character's mannerisms and quirks. He was often ad-libbing, for instance, on takes, much to the chagrin of his co-star Marino Mazzei, who was a classically trained actor with theatrical background, and the two frequently clashed during filming, and once they nearly came to blows before Bellochio intervened. Now, because he wasn't yet fluent in Italian, Castel's voice was dubbed in by the uncredited Paolo Carlini. At its premiere at the Locarno Festival, the film was condemned by Bellochio's idols Louis Buñuel and Michelangelo Antonioni. It was received positively, however, by younger critics and audiences, and it won the festival's Silver Sale Award. Via independent distribution, it became a sleeper hit, and it won an enthusiastic response when it was released in France as well, ranking number 10 in the Cahiers du Cinéma's annual top 10 list of that year. Fists in the Pocket was controversial upon its initial release, embraced by some critics while condemned by others in the Italian filmmaking establishment. It was a significant sleeper hit, and it's indeed developed a strong following, embracing many, and it's a landmark work for the country's cinema. Now, the film underwent a 4K restoration by the Immagine Ritrovata Laboratory, which was completed August 2015, and the restoration was funded by the Cineteca di Bologna, Armani and Cavac Film, and supervised by the director Bellochio. It's this restoration that Criterion used for their Blu-ray release, and the disc first came out in September 2019 in the US collection. Bellochio directed his next feature, China's Near, in 1967, and he continues to direct, and indeed his most recent feature is Kidnapped, released this year. He is aged 83. The disc for Fists in the Pocket contains the following special features. On the Blu-ray, there's the 4K digital restoration, which was approved by director Marco Bellochio, with uncompressed mono soundtrack. Interviews from 2005 with Bellochio, actors Lou Castel and Paolo Petagora, editor Silvano Agosti, critic Tullio Kisic, and filmmaker Bernardo Bertolucci. New interview with the scholar Stefano Albertini on the Blu-ray only. Trailer, a new English subtitle translation, and an essay by film critic Deborah Young, and on the DVD there's also an interview with Bellochio. Cover by Neil Kellerhouse and Peter Grant. Fists in the Pocket was a gleaming ice pick in the eye of bourgeois family values and Catholic morality, a truly unique work that continues to rank as one of the great achievements of Italian cinema. It has a running time of 108 minutes, and it's a widescreen presentation, no black bars, and it's available here in the UK on Blu-ray from Monday the 19th of June as Spine 333.